Let's go over the 5 reasons why you should use a password manager. First one, makes your life a lot easier. So let's say I'm going to log into this website here, and use Bitwarden as an example, link in the description down below. It is free to use. Up here, Bitwarden has told me there is 2 items in my vault. I click it, and I can choose which account I want to log into. I just select one. It automatically fills it in. I have no clue what the password is, nor do I care. Only thing I do care about is that it's strong. It's strong and long and random. Perfect, and all I gotta do is just sign in, and it's easy as that. The second reason to use a password manager is that you don't have to come up with passwords. It does it for you. I don't know about you, but it was kind of sucked to come up with passwords. Do I use monkey123, or maybe I choose monkey, or they're asking for a special character. Oh man, I don't know what to do. It was kind of taxing on the brain. But password manager will allow you to create a great, strong, long, and random password without really even thinking about it. Let me show you with Bitwarden. I'm going to click on the plugin, and I'm going to go over here to generator, and there we go. There's a password I can use, and that's pretty strong. I can make it as long as I want. I can make it as short as I want. Of course, each website will have its own parameters you have to follow, but for this one I'll say 20 characters long, capitals, lowercase, numbers, and special characters. And I can also choose the minimum of the numbers and minimum of the special characters, and avoid ambiguous characters. Basically that means avoid the characters that are like 0 and O, because they look the same, or I and L and 1, and they all look the same. So it's going to avoid using those characters just in case you ever have to manually type in the password, which really it's going to be very rare that you would have to do that. But I like this password, so what I'll do is I'll click copy password. So it's been copied. I'll paste it in and verify it by pasting in. The only thing I'm doing is Command V on Mac or Control V on a PC, or you can right click it and do the paste there. And there you go. And Bitwarden says, do you like to update this password? I'll say yes, of course. And there we go. It updated the password for me. So when I go back into the account, I can pull up the information on Bitwarden, and I can see it. There's my new password. Great thing about Bitwarden 2 and many other password managers, it can check to see if it's been pwned. Basically, if there's ever been any other breaches, I can press that, and it hasn't been any known breaches. Super easy, super helpful. And I can also see the password history on it too. There's my previous password. The third reason why you should use a password manager, it keeps you from using the same password for all your accounts, or a variation of that password, because it allows you to give every account its own unique password. So if I go into my vault in Bitwarden, every account I have has a unique password to it. And since I don't have to remember them, this is pretty easy. It's all stored in there. I can even type in what I'm looking for to get it even quicker. Every account gets its own unique password. And the reason why this is important is it's not a matter of if you'll ever get hacked or breached or your password exposed. It's a matter of when. And if all your passwords are the same or the same variation, or use a system of coming up with passwords, like you use the name of the website, a phrase you always use, and number and a special character, and you change it so it'll be like Facebook, the phrase and the number, or Twitter and the phrase, or whatever. If you have a system, if there's a pattern to it or there's a variation of it, the hackers know, and they can start drilling down to figure out, oh, if you use this phrase and this number and this special character all the time, and it's got Facebook in the front of it, or FN, or FB, or some variation like that, because they can see, especially in a plain text breach, they can see these patterns, and they are looking for these patterns, and they can, well, obviously if you're using that phrase, you're probably using that phrase for your bank account. Let's log into your bank account, or your PayPal account, or even worse, your email account, because email account is a central hub for you, where you can change or reset passwords very easily. And it's very important you lock down your email account, especially you want to use two-factor auth on your email account. That's very important. But this keeps you, password manager, keep you from using the same password for every account. Every account should have its own unique password. And that way, if you ever do, or when you do get into a breach, you don't get hacked. And a lot of people will start noticing these breaches are getting hacked more often nowadays because there's more websites and more websites to gather more information. It's continually getting worse and worse. So it's just a matter of time before you get breached. And if you're using the same password for every website, stop doing that. Get yourself a password manager. Come up with a big long master password for it that's the only password you have to remember from now on. Makes you a lot more convenient. Have the password manager come up with a unique password for every account, and you're good to go. Pretty simple. The fourth reason to use a password manager is that it gives you a central location for all your information. Many of these password managers come with a phone app, which is very, very handy, especially if you're out and about and for some odd reason you need to log into, let's say, your bank account. Go into password manager, there's your password information. Even many of them actually have a built-in web browser, or it works with the web browser on your phone to fill in the details for you, logs you in. So if you notice your bank's emailing you, hey, there's a suspicious charge, you can log in right then and there. Or one example, let's say you lose your cell phone and you head to the nearest phone store or Apple store or whatever to get a new phone, and to start the process, you usually have to call the phone company. It's like, hey, I got a new phone, and you swap over. Then usually ask you, okay, what is your favorite cartoon as a child? If you don't know these answers to these questions or you forgot them, what do? Like, then they start asking you real weird questions that you don't really know the answer for. But if you had a password manager, you could store that information on your phone. And a lot of these ones like Bitwarden, 1Password, LastPass have online portals, so you can temporarily log in, let's say at the Apple Store, get those security questions, and swap over your phone. And you should be, especially for security questions, you should not be using obvious answers. You should be using weird answers like your favorite cartoon as a child was the Blades of Grass. That's not a cartoon. Or you should be using the purple thumb or something weird, whatever. Something weird where that no one could look up on the internet to figure out these answers. The high school you went to, that's very bad. You want to use a password manager, use a unique answer to these security questions, or you might even have a pin on your phone account. If you don't know that and it's locked in at home on a piece of paper that you wrote down and you even forgot about it, what do you do? With the password manager, it gives you a central location for all your information, nice and neat. You can have it on your phone, or you can log on to the website securely, and voila, there's information you need in a pinch in one central location. The fifth and final reason you should use a password manager is for emergency access. Just in case something happens to you where you either pass away or you get so severely hurt that you can't do anything. Maybe you're in a coma or something severe, and no one ever wants to talk about it, but these things do happen, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons why you should use a password manager. Just for your family, if they need to get access to your bank account or pay bills while you're not able to, or close accounts. Gather family photos out of your Google Photos or your iPhoto or whatever, wherever there's password protected, they need access to, and a password manager gives them a central location to put all this information. And it's very wise to do it and make it nice and neat. Not only will the password manager make your life easier and simpler and more secure, but people, your family and your loved ones, will thank you for it. In the process of doing that, there's one thing I recommend you do. Of course, you want to tell your family and your wife or your husband or whatever where they can find and how to log in to your password manager in case you do pass away or something happens to you. But I recommend this right here. It's very important, because if you forget your password, your master password to your password manager, you are SOL. You're screwed. No one can help you. They don't. The business model of these legitimate password managers, they don't store a backup copy of your master password, nor will they ever ask for it, nor will they store it anywhere obvious on their server, because that's a security risk. So if you forget your master password, you're out of luck. So what I recommend everybody do is get 2 pieces of paper, as I'm demonstrating right here. You can handwrite it or you can print it out. If you do print it out, make sure you destroy the copy of it. Don't leave a plain text copy on your computer. And I recommend, if after you print it, print 5 more things so it clears out the memory on your printer too. It's very important you do these things. Or you just handwrite it, which is a lot easier to do and much more safer. Just write very neat and clean. That's the biggest thing. Get 2 pieces of paper, and you write down the email address you use for the password manager account or the username, the password, your master password, you write it down. And you also want to write down the email password for the email account you're using for the password manager. And this one doesn't seem obvious at first, but many of these password managers like Dashlane and LastPass, and pretty much all of them will email you to confirm that you are legitimately the real person. Basically, if they detect you're logging in from a new computer or a new area or a new location, they want to confirm that you are the correct owner. So they'll send an email out saying you need to press this button to confirm you are the right person logging in. And if your password's in the password manager for your email account and loved ones can't get into it, then they can't do anything. It's a big hubbub to even make that work and make that possible. So make sure you have the email password written down on these 2 sheets of paper. And if you have 2-factor auth on the email account and for the password manager, make sure you write that down too. They're usually a secret key or the picture. You can take a picture of the QR code or what have you. Make sure you have everything you need to log into the email account and to log into the password manager account. This is very important that you do this. Other apps like LastPass and Dashlane will give you emergency access, so you can email a family member just in case you pass away. They confirm the information beforehand. You got to do this beforehand. And if something happens, they can press the invoke button to get your access to your account. And they have to wait a certain amount of days or even months before they get access. In the meantime, the LastPass will email you, making sure this is not too early for them to get in. You can revoke the access, but if you don't revoke the access, the account goes to them. They get all their information, and they're good to go. Other apps like 1Password will allow you to reset passwords for a family account, for their family 1Password account. All of them have some type of variation of this, but the simplest version I've seen is get 2 pieces of paper, write down your email, the password for the password manager, and the email, of course, the email for the password manager, and the email password for your email account. Like so on the picture on the screen here, 2 pieces of paper. And what you want to do is keep 1 piece of paper in a safe in your home, preferably a fireproof safe. And the other piece of paper you want to either keep in a safety deposit box or with somebody you trust. It's important for the second one to not be in the same location as the first one, just in case of fire or other natural disasters. You want somewhere off-site. And that way you ensure family members and you, because it could be a fire in your home and the first sheet of paper could get burned down. But since the other piece of paper is fine and off-site, you can use that to recover. Usually when such disasters happen, you're not in the right thinking of mindset and you're panicking and getting access to your insurance and all that. It's very vital, but they're behind a password. So this will make your life a lot easier, a lot more secure. Just make sure these pieces of paper are either locked down in a safe and secure or not somewhere that's not obvious, because once again, this will be access to your account, and you don't have to put on here what the password manager is for. You can even do Facebook if you want to throw people off the scent. But it's not a foolproof method. Just make sure you put these 2 pieces of paper somewhere secure and safe, and makes life a lot easier, especially in an emergency situation.